In the bustling city of Lagos, a young girl named Amina was preparing for her first flight to Nairobi. Amina, a bright and ambitious 20-year-old, wore a hijab with pride. She had just won a scholarship to study engineering at a prestigious university in Kenya, and her heart was filled with excitement and a little bit of nervousness. Amina's parents, Fatima and Musa, drove her to Murtala Muhammad International Airport. As they hugged her goodbye, Fatima whispered, "Always stay strong and remember who you are." Amina nodded, feeling a surge of confidence. After checking in and going through security, Amina finally boarded the plane. She found her seat, 22A, by the window. Placing her backpack under the seat in front of her, she settled in and looked out the window, watching the airport staff and other planes. A few minutes later, a middle-aged man named Mr. O'Keefe approached her row. He glanced at his ticket, then at Amina. "You're in my seat," he said gruffly. Amina checked her own ticket again. "I'm sorry, sir, but my ticket says 22A. Mr. O'Keefe's face turned red. "I don't care what your ticket says. You people always think you can take whatever you want," he said loudly, attracting the attention of other passengers. Amina felt her cheeks flush with embarrassment. She tried to stay calm. "Sir, I'm sure there's been a mistake. Let's ask the flight attendant." The flight attendant, Zuri, arrived quickly. "What seems to be the problem here?" she asked, her voice calm and professional. "This girl is in my seat," Mr. O'Keefe exclaimed. "I paid for 22A and I demand she moves." Zuri checked both tickets and nodded. "Sir, your seat is actually 22B, right next to Miss Amina. There's no need for any confusion." Mr. O'Keefe's eyes narrowed. "I'm not sitting next to her. Find me another seat." Zuri frowned. "I'm sorry, sir, but the flight is fully booked. You'll have to sit in your assigned seat." Mr. O'Keefe looked around, realizing everyone was watching. "I want to speak to the captain," he demanded. The captain, Captain Chike, soon arrived. After hearing the situation, he said firmly, "Sir, we must adhere to the seating arrangements. If you're not willing to take your seat, we may have to ask you to leave the plane." Mr. O'Keefe huffed but finally sat down next to Amina, grumbling under his breath. Amina felt a mix of relief and unease. She put on her headphones, trying to block out the negativity. As the plane took off, Amina focused on her dreams of becoming an engineer. She didn't notice Mr. O'Keefe glaring at her occasionally. About an hour into the flight, something unexpected happened. Mr. O'Keefe, who had been silent, suddenly clutched his chest and gasped for air. Amina immediately noticed and shouted for help. "Someone, please help. He's having trouble breathing." Passengers and flight attendants rushed to assist. A doctor on board, Dr. Kofi, quickly assessed the situation. "He's having a heart attack. We need to administer first aid immediately." Amina, having taken a basic first aid course, assisted Dr. Kofi. They worked together to stabilize Mr. O'Keefe until the plane could make an emergency landing. Throughout the ordeal, Amina remained calm and focused, following Dr. Kofi's instructions. When the plane finally landed and paramedics took Mr. O'Keefe away, Captain Chike approached Amina. "You were incredible back there. Your quick thinking helped save his life." Amina nodded, feeling a sense of pride and relief. The other passengers applauded her bravery. As the plane prepared to take off again, Amina couldn't help but think about what had just happened. She had been humiliated and insulted, but in the end, she had shown kindness and bravery in the face of adversity. Little did she know, this was just the beginning of an even more unexpected journey. As the plane resumed its journey to Nairobi, Amina settled back into her seat, her heart still racing from the adrenaline of the past hour. She glanced at the empty seat next to her, where Mr. O'Keefe had sat. She hoped he would be all right, despite how he had treated her. The rest of the flight was uneventful, But Amina couldn't shake off the feeling that her life was about to change in ways she couldn't yet comprehend. When the plane finally landed in Nairobi, she collected her belongings and made her way through the bustling airport. At the arrivals gate, she was greeted by a representative from the university, a cheerful young woman named Nia. "Welcome to Nairobi, Amina. We're so excited to have you join us." Amina smiled, feeling a warm welcome wash over her. "Thank you, Nia. I'm excited to be here." As they drove to the university, Nia chatted about the campus, the city, and the various opportunities that awaited Amina. Despite her excitement, Amina couldn't help but think back to the incident on the plane. She wondered if she would ever see Mr. O'Keefe again, and if he was doing better. The first few weeks at the university were a whirlwind of orientation sessions, meeting new friends, and diving into her studies. Amina excelled in her classes, quickly earning the respect of her professors and peers. She felt at home in Nairobi, but the memory of the flight still lingered in the back of her mind. One day, as Amina was leaving the library, she received a call from an unknown number. Curious, she answered. "Hello, Amina? This is Dr. Kofi, the doctor from the flight. I hope you remember me." Amina's heart skipped a beat. "Of course, Dr. Kofi. How are you?" "I'm well, thank you. I'm calling because Mr. O'Keefe has been asking to speak with you. He wanted to thank you personally for your help that day." Amina was surprised but agreed to meet. Dr. Kofi arranged for them to meet at a local cafe the following weekend. When the day arrived, Amina felt a mix of curiosity and apprehension. At the cafe, she spotted Mr. O'Keefe sitting at a corner table. He looked healthier, though still recovering. As she approached, he stood up and offered a hesitant smile. "Amina, thank you for coming." Amina nodded, taking a seat. "How are you feeling, Mr. O'Keefe?" He sighed deeply. "Better, thanks to you. I owe you an apology for how I treated you on the plane. I was wrong, and I've had a lot of time to reflect on my actions." Amina appreciated his honesty. "It's okay, Mr. O'Keefe. I'm glad you're doing better." Mr. O'Keefe reached into his pocket and pulled out a small, wrapped package. "I wanted to give you something as a token of my gratitude. It's not much, but I hope you'll accept it." Amina unwrapped the package to find a beautifully crafted necklace with a pendant shaped like a heart. She was touched by the gesture. "Thank you, Mr. O'Keefe. This means a lot to me." As they talked, Amina learned more about Mr. O'Keefe's life. He was a successful businessman who had faced many challenges, which had hardened him over the years. Their conversation was a turning point for both of them. Mr. O'Keefe realized the importance of treating people with kindness and respect, while Amina understood the power of forgiveness and compassion. Their budding friendship became a source of unexpected support and inspiration for Amina. Mr. O'Keefe, in turn, became one of her biggest supporters, often visiting the university to check on her progress and offer guidance. However, life had more surprises in store for Amina. One evening, as she was studying in her dorm room, she received an urgent call from Nia. "Amina, you need to come to the dean's office immediately. There's something you need to see." Amina rushed to the office, her mind racing with possibilities. When she arrived, the dean handed her a letter with an official seal. As she opened it, her eyes widened in shock. The letter contained an invitation to join a groundbreaking engineering project in collaboration with a renowned international organization. It was an opportunity of a lifetime, one that could change the course of her career. But the conditions of the project required her to make a difficult decision. Amina's hands trembled as she read the letter. The project was a collaboration between her university and a leading tech firm based in Germany. The project focused on developing sustainable energy solutions for rural areas in Africa, a cause close to Amina's heart. However, the projects required her to relocate to Berlin for a year. As she sat in the dean's office, the weight of the decision pressed heavily on her. She had just started to settle into her new life in Nairobi, and leaving so soon felt daunting. But the opportunity was too significant to dismiss lightly. The dean, Professor Mwangi, observed her carefully. "Amina, I understand this is a big decision. Take your time and think it over. We're here to support you, whatever you choose." Amina nodded, thanking him before leaving the office. She needed to discuss this with someone she trusted. Without hesitation, she called Mr. O'Keefe. When he arrived at a quiet cafe later that evening, Amina explained the situation. Mr. O'Keefe listened intently, his expression thoughtful. "This is a remarkable opportunity, Amina. But I understand your hesitation. You've just started building your life here." Amina sipped her tea, feeling the warmth spread through her hands. "I know it's a great opportunity, but I'm worried about leaving everything behind so soon. My family, my friends here, and even my studies." Mr. O'Keefe leaned forward. "Opportunities like this don't come often. Think about why you came here in the first place. You want to make a difference, and this project could be your chance to do something truly impactful." Amina considered his words. She had always been driven by a desire to help her community and create sustainable solutions. This project aligned perfectly with her goals. "I think you're right," she said finally. "I need to take this chance." Mr. O'Keefe smiled. "I know you'll make the right choice. Remember, you have people here who support you, no matter where you go." The following week, Amina made her decision. She accepted the invitation and began preparing for her move to Berlin. The university arranged for her coursework to be completed remotely, ensuring she could continue her studies while working on the project. As her departure date approached, Amina's friends and family gathered to wish her well. Nia, who had become one of her closest friends, gave her a journal. "For all the amazing experiences you'll have, write everything down so you can share your journey with us." With a mixture of excitement and nervousness, Amina boarded the plane to Berlin. The city was a stark contrast to Nairobi, with its modern architecture and bustling streets. But Amina was determined to embrace the experience fully. Upon her arrival at the tech firm, she was introduced to the project team. They were a diverse group of engineers and scientists from around the world, all passionate about sustainable energy. Amina quickly found her place among them, her skills and ideas earning their respect. As months passed, Amina's work on the projects flourished. She helped design innovative solar energy systems that could be easily implemented in rural African communities. Her dedication and creativity caught the attention of the project's lead engineer, Dr. Muller, who became her mentor. One evening, as Amina was working late in the lab, Dr. Muller approached her. "Amina, I've been incredibly impressed with your work. I'd like to recommend you for a leadership position on this project." Amina was taken aback. "Me? But I'm still a student." Dr. Muller smiled. "Your talent and vision are exactly what this project needs. You've already proven yourself more than capable." Amina felt a surge of pride and gratitude. She accepted the offer, knowing it was a significant step forward in her career. Back in Nairobi, Mr. O'Keefe followed Amina's journey closely. He was proud of her accomplishments and often shared her progress with others, using her story to inspire young people in his community. As Amina settled into her new role, she received an unexpected message from Nia. "Amina, there's something happening back home that you need to know about. It's urgent." Amina's heart raced as she read the message, wondering what could be so pressing. She immediately called Nia, who explained the situation. A major crisis had erupted in a rural area of Kenya, and the sustainable energy systems they had been working on could be the key to resolving it. Amina knew she had to act quickly. She gathered her team and presented the situation to Dr. Muller. We need to deploy our systems to Kenya immediately. This is exactly the kind of impact we set out to achieve. Dr. Muller agreed, and within days, Amina and a small team were on a plane back to Nairobi, carrying the vital equipment with them. As they landed, Amina felt a renewed sense of purpose. She was home, and she was ready to make a difference. As Amina and her team arrived in the rural area of Kenya, they were greeted by a scene of chaos and desperation. The village of Kiboko had been without power for weeks due to severe flooding that had damaged the existing infrastructure. The community was struggling, and the lack of electricity was exacerbating the crisis. Amina quickly gathered her team and met with the village elders to assess the situation. One of the elders, Mama Juma, explained, "The floods have destroyed our power lines, and we have no way to preserve our food or run our water pumps. We are in desperate need of a solution." Amina nodded, her mind racing with possibilities. "We brought with us portable solar energy systems that we've been developing in Berlin. They are designed to be easily set up and can provide immediate relief." With the village elders' approval, Amina and her team set to work. They began by installing solar panels on the roofs of key buildings, including the school, the clinic, and the community center. The villagers watched in awe as the panels started to generate power. As night fell, the village of Kiboko began to glow. For the first time in weeks, lights flickered on, and the hum of electrical appliances filled the air. The community gathered in the village square, where Amina addressed them. "We have brought these solar systems to help you through this crisis, but this is only the beginning. We want to empower you to maintain and expand these systems, so you can have a sustainable source of energy for the future." The villagers cheered, and Amina felt a deep sense of fulfillment. This was why she had pursued her dreams of becoming an engineer. Over the next few days, Amina and her team trained several villagers, including young men and women, on how to maintain and repair the solar systems. One of the trainees, a young man named Kofi, showed exceptional promise. "I want to learn everything I can," he told Amina. "I want to help my community and maybe even teach others." Amina saw a reflection of herself in Kofi's determination. She made a mental note to discuss with Dr. Muller the possibility of offering scholarships or internships to promising students like Kofi. As the days turned into weeks, the village began to stabilize. The solar systems provided a reliable source of power, and life in Kiboko started to return to normal. The villagers' gratitude towards Amina and her team was immense. One evening, as Amina was packing up her equipment, Mama Juma approached her. "You have done more than just bring us light. You have brought us hope." "Thank you, Amina." Amina smiled, feeling a warmth in her heart. "It was a team effort, Mama Juma. And this is only the beginning. We will continue to work together to build a better future." With the immediate crisis resolved, Amina returned to Nairobi with a renewed sense of purpose. She couldn't wait to share the success of the project with Dr. Muller and the rest of her team in Berlin. Back in Berlin, Amina presented the results of their work in Kiboko to the project's stakeholders. Her presentation was met with admiration and support. Dr. Muller, in particular, was impressed by the impact they had made. "This is exactly the kind of real-world application we envisioned for this project," he said. Amina's success in Kiboko also brought unexpected opportunities. She received invitations to speak at international conferences and share her experiences. Her story inspired many young engineers and students around the world, particularly women and those from underrepresented communities. Despite all the accolades and opportunities, Amina remained grounded. She knew that her journey was far from over, and there were still many challenges to overcome. She continued to work tirelessly, driven by her passion for sustainable development and her commitment to making a difference. One day, while working in her lab in Berlin, Amina received a call from Mr. Okik. "Amina, I have some exciting news. I've been in touch with several business leaders in Nigeria, and they are interested in funding a large-scale deployment of your solar systems. They want to bring sustainable energy to underserved communities across the country. Amina was ecstatic. That's incredible news, Mr. Okik. This could have a huge impact. As she hung up the phone, Amina couldn't help but reflect on how far she had come. From being kicked off a plane seat to leading groundbreaking projects and inspiring others, her journey had been filled with unexpected twists and turns. And yet, she felt that this was only the beginning of an even greater adventure. Little did she know, her next challenge would be the most daunting yet. A powerful international corporation had taken notice of her work, and they had their own plans for Africa's energy future, plans that might not align with Amina's vision of sustainable and community-driven development. Amina's phone rang again, this time with a call from an unknown number. She answered, curious. "Hello, this is Amina." "Ms. Amina, my name is William Carter. I'm the CEO of Global Energy Solutions. We've been following your work with great interest. I'd like to discuss a potential partnership that could significantly expand your solar energy projects across Africa." Amina agreed to meet Mr. Carter. The following week, she found herself in a high-rise office overlooking Berlin. Mr. Carter was a charismatic man with a sharp business acumen. He proposed a massive investment in her project with one condition: Global Energy Solutions would control the deployment and management of the systems. Amina listened carefully, but something about the proposal felt off. She knew that giving a corporation control over the energy systems could lead to exploitation and a loss of the community-driven approach that had made her project successful. "Mr. Carter, I appreciate the offer, but I have concerns. Our goal is to empower local communities, not just provide them with energy. We want them to have ownership and the skills to maintain these systems themselves." Mr. Carter's smile faded slightly. "I understand your vision, Amina, but our resources could accelerate your impact exponentially. Think of how many more people you could help." Amina thanked him for the meeting, but left with a heavy heart. She knew she had to protect the integrity of her work, even if it meant slower progress. Back in Nairobi, Amina shared her concerns with Mr. Okik. "I'm worried that partnering with Global Energy Solutions could compromise our mission." Mr. Okik nodded. "Trust your instincts, Amina. You've built something incredible by staying true to your values. Don't let anyone take that away from you." Amina decided to decline Mr. Carter's offer. She continued to focus on grassroots efforts, empowering local communities and training young leaders like Kofi. Her decisions soon paid off. Word of her principled stand spread, and it attracted the attention of several philanthropic organizations and ethical investors who shared her vision. They offered support without strings attached, allowing her to expand her projects while maintaining community ownership and involvement. Years passed, and Amina's work transformed countless lives. Villages across Africa adopted her solar systems, and many young engineers followed in her footsteps, inspired by her story. Kofi, now a respected engineer himself, led projects in his own community and beyond. One sunny afternoon, Amina stood in the village square of Kiboko, now a thriving community with a robust and sustainable energy infrastructure. Mama Juma approached her, beaming with pride. "You've changed our lives, Amina. You've given us hope and a future." Amina smiled, her heart full. "It was a collective effort, Mama Juma. Together, we've shown that sustainable development is possible when we empower communities." As the sun set, casting a golden glow over the village, Amina reflected on her journey. She had faced challenges and made difficult choices, but she had stayed true to her vision. Her work was not just about bringing light to homes, but about illuminating the path to a brighter, more equitable future. Her story became a beacon of hope, proving that with determination, integrity, and a commitment to empowering others, one person could indeed change the world. And so, Amina's legacy lived on, inspiring generations to come to dream big, work hard, and always stay true to their values. The end of one journey marked the beginning of countless others, as the seeds she had sown continued to grow and flourish across the continent and beyond.